All right, good morning, YouTube. It's about 10:15 here. I've been up since 4:30-ish. My new thing now is I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and I've just been waking up early in the morning and tossing and turning and trying to go back to sleep, and it hasn't been working well. So my new thing is I just turned the light on and started reading to give myself something to do, and it worked nice. I've gotten a lot done because of that. I cleaned out the fridge. I did a few different things. I took care of the chores with the rabbits and everything. I figure it's probably really good training for all of the animals that we're about to get, chickens and goats and eventually donkeys and things like that. So it's good. It's good practice, I guess. But none of that is the purpose of this video. Purpose of this video is actually this right here. That is a 25-ounce Harbor Freight framing hammer. When I bought it, it was $5. That was a few years back. And now I think it's $8. But as you can see, it's got a really good wooden handle, nice straight grain. Got a nice waffle head there. It's obviously been kind of beat down, but this here, the magnetic nail set, has never worked, but I don't really care because I don't really use it. It's the hammer that I use when I'm going to be doing heavier construction. Like if I have to drive really big, long, like the timber framing nails, I use this. And it's actually really good for building decks, and because it's nice to be able to have that extra weight to give the joists a tap. When you're building tool sheds, you don't really need an incredibly heavy hammer. I get by with the DeLugy 1650 that I use, the 16-ounce axe-handled finishing hammer. But this, I'm doing the video on this because I have found, I did a YouTube search, and nobody has done a video on this hammer. Nobody has really talked about this hammer. And it's the exact same hammer as an Estwung 25-ounce wooden-handled framing hammer. And people absolutely rave about that hammer. They go on and on about how awesome it is and how much they like it. And this is the exact same hammer, and it costs a third of the price. So I've been going back and forth trying to figure out for this coming season, am I gonna buy a new framing hammer? Am I gonna use this? What am I gonna do? I've just decided I'm gonna stick with this. It's a little heavy, but that's what I want for the heavier construction. It comes, when you get it, it has like the weird lamination on the metal, and it has varnish all over the handle. The first thing I do is sand off all the varnish and sand off all of the lamination on the head, because it just, this has a patina to it. Like obviously there's some oxidation there, but it's not rusted. It's just developed a patina. If you leave that weird plastic thing on the lamination on the head, you get all these weird spiders of rust underneath it, and then you gotta blast it all off anyway. So it's easier as soon as I get a hammer like this. That's the first thing I do. I take all of the protective coating off. I soak the handle in boiled linseed oil. The system that I use is I had to think for a minute. I can hear my dog inside barking. Maybe you guys can too. But the system that I use is once a day for a month, once every other day for a month, and then once a week for a month. And by the end of that, it's pretty well impregnated with that. And every time after I use it, I sand it down because it gets the little ridges and stuff like that. And it gets to the point where it's a really comfortable hammer. It's a really nice hammer to use. That's what I did with my Delugi. That's what I did with this. That's what I do with all of my sledgehammers and axes and things like that have wooden handles. That's how I treat them. So I'll just go over it. Like I said, it's 25 ounces. It's got a good heft to it. It really moves joists nicely. The waffle face, I've gone back and forth on whether or not I want a waffled face. Like, I was thinking maybe I'll just take it and grind it off with my belt sander, but I just left it on there because it's eventually just gonna get beaten down into a smooth face anyway, so it's no big deal. The claws, this is a funny story. I was putting in posts in Newport, Rhode Island. I was working down at one of the bigger houses in Newport, Rhode Island, and my job for the day was to put in railings for stairs on this, it was kind of like a natural staircase, but it was, you know, it was dug out, and it was all made of natural materials, and they wanted to, you know, like materials occurring in nature, like crushed rock and driftwood for the steps, for the borders of it and everything, and they wanted a railing system put in. So I had to dig holes to get the posts in the ground, to set the concrete in the ground to set the posts in it, and I kept running into rocks like this big, like decent sized rocks. This hammer works perfectly to get in there and dig them out and kind of break up the soil around it like a mini pickaxe. So that was worth the purchase right there. But this is the Harbor Freight 25 ounce California framing hammer, and it's the exact same hammer as an Estwung, a 25 ounce wooden handled Estwung. Obviously the traditional Estwung is the blue rubber with the all metal frame, but this is gonna be the best $8 you ever spend. It's really a good hammer. I really like it, and I get a lot done with it. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but this whole thing with the electrical tape here, it serves two purposes. Obviously this thing is riding around in a tool belt when I'm using it, and it's got one of those metal rings. So this protects the hammer from the metal rings. You can see it's kind of chewed up there, a little bit chewed up from the metal ring, but it's chewing up the tape instead of the hammer handle. Also, if you were to miss a nail and strike like this, it gives it a little bit of shock absorbance so that it doesn't, or shouldn't, crack the wooden handle. But I like it. It's a very good hammer. So I've rambled about it long enough. I hope wherever you are, you're comfortable and that God is with you. Thank you.